The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the backyard where the celebration was set to unfold. John, a devoted father, stood by the window, reflecting on the whirlwind of emotions that surrounded his son's recent engagement. It felt like just yesterday when he held his son's tiny hand, guiding him through life's early steps. Now, as he prepared to welcome a new daughter-in-law into their family, a mix of pride and nostalgia washed over him. He remembered all the laughter, the lessons, and the late-night talks they shared. The excitement buzzing in the air was palpable, with friends and family eagerly anticipating the engagement party. Yet, beneath the joy, John felt a twinge of concern. He wanted nothing more than for his son to find happiness, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this new chapter might hold unexpected challenges. The engagement party was a vibrant celebration, filled with laughter and joy. Family and friends gathered, their faces lit up with smiles as they toasted to the couple's future. The air was filled with the delightful aroma of delicious food, and the sound of music created an atmosphere of pure happiness. The protagonist, a proud father, watched as his son and his fiancée mingled, their love evident in every shared glance and soft touch. He felt a swell of pride in his chest, knowing his son had found someone special. Conversations flowed freely, with stories shared and laughter echoing around the room. The warmth of togetherness enveloped everyone, creating a sense of belonging. As the evening progressed, the protagonist couldn't help but reflect on how far his son had come and the bright future that lay ahead. It was a night to remember, filled with hope and celebration. As the protagonist arrives at the girl's family home, he is greeted by a warm and inviting atmosphere. The mother, with her gentle smile and open arms, embodies a nurturing spirit that instantly puts him at ease. She offers him a cup of tea, her laughter ringing through the air as she shares stories about her daughter, painting a picture of a loving, close-knit family. This initial warmth creates a sense of comfort, making him feel welcomed and appreciated. However, beneath this friendly demeanor lies an undercurrent of concern. As the evening progresses, the mother's tone shifts subtly, her eyes reflecting a seriousness that contrasts sharply with her earlier warmth. She leans in closer, her voice lowering, hinting at a warning that lingers in the air. This juxtaposition of kindness and caution leaves the protagonist unsettled, planting the seeds of doubt about the future. As I watched her interact with my son, I was struck by the warmth radiating from her. Her laughter was genuine, a sound that filled the room with joy, and her eyes sparkled with kindness. It was clear she had a special bond with him, one that went beyond mere affection. I noticed how she listened intently when he spoke, her attention unwavering as if every word mattered. It was refreshing to see someone who seemed to genuinely care for his happiness. I could see the way she encouraged him, lifting his spirits and making him feel valued. In that moment, I felt a sense of relief. My son had found someone who could support him, someone who would stand by him through thick and thin. Yet, amidst the warmth of her kindness, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more beneath the surface, a complexity I had yet to uncover. The atmosphere in the room shifted as the protagonist found himself alone with the girl's mother. They exchanged pleasantries, but an underlying tension crackled between them. He noticed her warm smile faltering slightly, as if she were wrestling with something heavy. As they sat down, the mother's demeanor transformed, her eyes darkened, and her voice dropped to a whisper. "I need to talk to you about your son," she began, her tone urgent yet cautious. The protagonist felt a chill run down his spine, sensing the weight of her tower words. She leaned in closer, her expression grave. "Don't let them marry. He's in danger." Those words hung in the air, heavy with foreboding. Confusion swirled in his mind as he tried to process the warning. What could possibly threaten his son's happiness? The meeting felt like a turning point, setting off a chain of events that would challenge everything he believed. Doubts crept in, leaving him torn between love and concern. The girl's mother leaned in close, her voice barely above a whisper. "Don't let them marry. He's in danger." The words hung in the air, heavy with urgency and confusion. The protagonist's heart raced, his mind reeling from the unexpected warning. What could she possibly mean? Was there a hidden threat he was unaware of? The warmth of the celebration felt distant now, overshadowed by a sense of foreboding. He glanced around, searching for answers in the faces of family and friends, but all he saw were smiles and joy. The mother's eyes, however, were filled with something else: fear. The protagonist felt a knot tighten in his stomach. As the protagonist wrestles with the mother's ominous warning, a storm of doubt brews within him. He questions the validity of her words, wondering if they stem from genuine concern or unfounded fear. Is his son truly in danger, or is this merely an overprotective instinct? The weight of the warning gnaws at him, forcing him to reflect on his own experiences with love and marriage. He recalls the complexities he faced, the heartbreaks and triumphs, and how they shaped his understanding of relationships. The thought of his son potentially facing similar turmoil fills him with dread. He grapples with the implications of the warning, torn between protecting his son and allowing him to forge his own path. This internal conflict leaves him feeling paralyzed as he desperately seeks clarity amidst the chaos of emotions, fearing the consequences of either action he might take. My past informs my perspective, urging me to protect him while allowing him to forge his own path. My own experiences with love and marriage were not all sunshine and roses. I recall the thrill of first love, the exhilaration of promises made under starlit skies. Yet those moments were often shadowed by challenges, misunderstandings, financial struggles, and the pressure of societal expectations tested our bond. I remember the sleepless nights, questioning whether we were truly meant to be. Each trial shaped my understanding of love's complexities, teaching me that it isn't just about passion, but also about resilience and compromise. These reflections weigh heavily on my heart as I consider my son's future. I want him to experience the joy of love, but I also know the heartache that can accompany it. The protagonist sits across from his wife, the weight of the warning heavy in the air. "Did you hear what her mother said?" he asks, his voice tinged with concern. His wife, calm and composed, responds, "Yes, but we can't let fear dictate our son's happiness." They share a moment of silence, both envisioning their son's future, yet their perspectives diverge. He worries about potential dangers lurking beneath the surface, while she focuses on the love and joy their son has found. "We should trust him to make his own choices," she insists, her eyes filled with hope. "Love can conquer many obstacles." He nods, feeling the tension between their views. "But what if her mother knows something we don't?" he counters, anxiety creeping in. Their conversation reveals a blend of hope and apprehension, highlighting their differing approaches to parenting and the complexities of love and protection. Driven by the unsettling warning from the girl's mother, the protagonist feels an urgent need to dig deeper into the family's history. He starts by researching online, combing through social media profiles and public records, piecing together fragments of their past. Each click reveals layers of complexity. He discovers a family marked by both achievements and shadows. Conversations with acquaintances yield mixed reviews. Some praise the family's generosity, while others hint at hidden troubles. The protagonist's heart races as he uncovers stories of past conflicts and unresolved issues that could impact his son's future. He feels torn between wanting to protect his son and the fear of overstepping boundaries. As he delves further, the weight of his discovery begins to settle in, creating a sense of urgency to understand the truth behind the mother's warning and its implications for his son's happiness. As the protagonist navigates the whirlwind of emotions surrounding his son's engagement, he turns to friends and family for their perspectives. Some express excitement, praising the girl's charm and how well she fits into their family. "She's a keeper," one friend insists, recalling fond memories of her laughter at the engagement party. However, others voice concerns, hinting at the girl's family background and questioning her intentions. "You can never be too careful," a cousin advises, recalling stories of relationships that turned sour. The protagonist feels a knot tighten in his stomach as these varying opinions swirl around him. Each conversation adds layers to his growing unease, making him question the authenticity of the girl's love for his son. He begins to wonder if his instincts are right, feeling torn between the joy of the engagement and the unsettling warnings echoing in his mind. The protagonist takes a deep breath, gathering his thoughts before approaching the girl. "Can we talk?" he asks, sensing the weight of his concerns. They find a quiet corner away from the laughter and music of the engagement party. "Your mother warned me about you and my son," he begins, his voice steady but filled with emotion. The girl's expression shifts, revealing a mix of surprise and vulnerability. "I know," she replies softly, her eyes glistening. "She's just protective." They delve into a heartfelt discussion, exploring the roots of her mother's fears and her own insecurities. The protagonist listens intently as she shares her past, the challenges that shaped her mother's warnings. They both realize that love can be complicated, yet they share a vision for a future together. In that moment, understanding blossoms, bridging the gap created by fear and uncertainty. As the conversation deepened, the girl opened up about her own fears and insecurities. "My mother is protective for a reason," she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "She's faced heartbreak and loss, and it's made her wary." The weight of her words hung in the air, revealing layers of her past that shaped her mother's warnings. "I've seen relationships crumble, and I don't want that for us," she continued, her eyes reflecting vulnerability. "Sometimes I worry that I'm not enough, or that I'll let him down." The protagonist listened intently, realizing that her mother's caution stemmed from love, not malice. "It's hard for me to shake off those fears," she admitted, "but I want to be strong for him." In that moment, he understood the complexity of their situation, recognizing that her insecurities were intertwined with her mother's protective instincts, making their bond all the more fragile yet profound. As I sit quietly, reflecting on the whirlwind of emotions surrounding my son's engagement, I realize how crucial trust and communication are in any relationship. My son's happiness is paramount, and I find myself weighing the concerns raised by the girl's mother against the joy I see in my son's eyes. It's a delicate balance. I want to protect him, yet I must also respect his choices. Trust is the foundation of any bond, and I know that open communication can bridge any gap. I ponder how my own experiences with love taught me the value of being honest and transparent. I wish for my son to navigate his path with confidence, free from the shadows of doubt. As I consider the warning I received, I remind myself that fostering a supportive environment is essential for his happiness, and that starts with trusting him and encouraging dialogue. The dinner table was set, but the atmosphere felt heavy. The protagonist watched his son and the girl exchange polite smiles, yet there was an underlying tension that made him uneasy. As the conversation flowed, he noted how the girl hesitated before answering questions, her eyes darting nervously. His son, usually vibrant, seemed to mirror her unease, laughter stifled in his throat. The protagonist caught subtle glances between the two, moments where their hands almost brushed but quickly withdrew. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The girl's mother's warning echoed in his mind, amplifying his concern. He observed the way his son leaned in closer to the girl, yet she pulled back slightly, as if unsure. Each bite of food felt like a reminder of the stakes involved, and the protagonist's heart raced as he pondered the implications of their interactions, fearing the worst. As the days pass, the protagonist finds himself increasingly consumed by doubt. The mother's warning echoes in his mind, casting a shadow over what should be a joyous occasion. He begins to scrutinize every interaction between his son and the girl, searching for signs of trouble that may not exist. Each laugh shared between them feels tinged with uncertainty, and he questions whether he's overreacting or if there's a genuine threat lurking beneath the surface. His instincts, once a source of comfort, now feel like a double-edged sword leading him down a path of paranoia. He starts to see potential red flags in their relationship, wondering if he's failing as a father by not protecting his son. The fear of losing his son to unforeseen dangers grips him, leaving him in a state of turmoil as he grapples with the weight of his growing suspicion. As the evening settled, the protagonist wandered near the kitchen, drawn by hushed voices. He paused, straining to hear the conversation between the girl and her mother. "You need to be careful," the mother cautioned, her tone laced with urgency. "He may seem perfect, but I've seen what can happen when you let your guard down." The girl responded softly, "I love him, Mom. I want this to work." The mother's reply sent chills down the protagonist's spine. "Love isn't enough. You must protect yourself." Each word echoed in his mind, amplifying his worries. The protagonist felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What did the mother know that he didn't? The conversation deepened his concerns, leaving him grappling with fear and uncertainty. He realized that this wasn't just about his son's happiness, it was about potential dangers lurking beneath the surface of their relationship. Feeling overwhelmed by the weight of the mother's warning, the protagonist decides to reach out to a family therapist. He knows that navigating this delicate situation requires a thoughtful approach. As he sits in the therapist's office, he shares his concerns about his son's engagement and the unsettling warning he received. The therapist listens intently, encouraging him to express his feelings without judgment. The protagonist explains his desire to protect his son while also respecting his choices. He worries about causing conflict, fearing that confronting the girl's mother might lead to unnecessary tension. The therapist suggests strategies for open communication, emphasizing the importance of understanding both his son's perspective and the girl's family dynamics. With a newfound sense of clarity, the protagonist leaves the session feeling empowered, ready to approach the situation with care, aiming to foster dialogue rather than discord. The protagonist felt a chill run down his spine, realizing that this confrontation was more than just a warning. It was a plea for understanding, a call to protect their futures. "I need clarity on your warning," he demanded, his voice steady but laced with urgency. The mother's eyes narrowed, her warm exterior cracking under the weight of his inquiry. "You don't understand," she replied, her tone shifting to one of defensive urgency. "I only want to protect her." The protagonist pressed on. "But from what? What danger do you foresee?" Silence enveloped them, punctuated only by the distant sounds of celebration from the engagement party. The mother hesitated, her expression a mix of fear and resolve. "There are things in our past that could resurface, things that could hurt them both," she finally admitted. As the dust settles from the tumultuous events, the protagonist finds himself at a crossroads. He realizes that his son's happiness is paramount, and despite the unsettling warning from the girl's mother, he must choose to support his son wholeheartedly. The protagonist reflects on the complexities of relationships, understanding that love is often layered with challenges and fears. He decides to engage in open conversations with his son, encouraging honesty about the relationship while subtly keeping an eye on its dynamics. This newfound resolve empowers him to foster a supportive environment, allowing his son to navigate his own path. Yet, the protagonist remains vigilant, aware that the girl's family history may still cast shadows over their future. Balancing trust and caution, he embraces the role of a guiding father, committed to ensuring that his son's journey into love is both joyful and safe, ready to intervene if necessary.